I don't normally start vlogging this time of the morning because it's just so damn early and I'm not really awake at all. I'm installing High Sierra. I don't know if that was a good idea or not. Probably not. Time to get Jasper to school. Okay, I am now heading off to grab Jazzy from school. And it'll be very interesting to find out if he's been a good boy. Because if he has, we're going to head off to that skate park I went to yesterday. And if he hasn't, we're not. Pure bribery, I know, but he can be a good boy. I know he can. Because he often is. He lacks incentive. Hopefully, he's had sufficient incentive today that when the teacher says jump, he says how high, whilst also at the same time jumping, waiting to find out whether Jasper has been a good boy or not. While we're doing that, I wanted to share with you my hope for the future of car ownership. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I think there's going to be a very radical shift. I think people in countryside, their ownership model is going to stay more or less the same in that they basically need a car in order to go anywhere. With any luck, due to the additional reliability that you get with EVs from a mechanical point of view, hopefully their cars are going to last a lot longer. I mean, that's the model of ownership that I'm using here. Yes, buying the car to begin with can be quite an expensive process, to say the least, but going forwards, hopefully there'll be less to go wrong with it. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. What I do know is that Soph's car has just gone in. Something broke on it. It's not anything particularly major, but by the time they totaled up everything, they came up with a bill of like £1,000 anyway, which is quite a hefty bill. And the problem with fixing old cars is you've no idea what's going to break next. Because there are so many parts to them, it could be anything. I mean, I had that experience. It was a Peugeot, admittedly, which is not known for its reliability, but I would regularly spend £1,000 on it, and 3 months later have to spend another £1,000 on it to keep the thing on the road. And over the space of 2 years, it would actually have been cheaper to just pay for the finance on a Model S. You can see my logic there, can't you? You see how this is all, yeah. Obviously there are cheaper EVs you can buy than a Model S, but whatever EV you get, especially if it comes with a big battery, hopefully you're going to get quite a long life out of that. Now there is a caveat to that. Car companies, and companies in general actually, are extremely good at encouraging people to replace their products over time. It's planned obsolescence. It's an absolute curse. I think the government should make it completely illegal to conduct any kind of obsolete by design concept unless there is virtually 100% reusability in that product. You know, everything can be taken to bits and repurposed or remanufactured into a new item. Otherwise you wind up with this mobile phone syndrome where, you know, people have these incredible pieces of kit and every couple of years they get a new one and the old one winds up in I don't know where, sometimes recycled, sometimes shipped off somewhere else for another life, sometimes chucked in landfill. Really extremely wasteful and not sustainable. Now, when it comes to cities, I think probably what's going to happen is autonomous driving, if it ever, well, not if, it will definitely become a reality over time. And what driverless cars will mean is that you can have a car for the weekend and rent it at the press of a button, book it in, and it will turn up at your door. So the convenience will be as great or greater than owning your own car. But the rest of the time, in the city, you don't really want a car. What you want is to not have to worry about where you're parking it. So in a lot of ways, I think that autonomous driving and car rental can sort of come together into a synergy that enables city dwellers to have really great cars when they want to leave the city and no car at all when they don't want one. And I don't think it's going to be all that long before we're going to start to see the end result of these changes actually feeding through to people. Like already EVs, certainly Teslas, seem to last very well, although sometimes the build quality is a bit iffy. Build quality issues tend to be on the non-critical end of things, you know, things like door handles not working and bits of trim that squeak and stuff like that, which, you know, you wouldn't get rid of a car because of that. Well, I wouldn't get rid of a car because of those things, especially if the manufacturer actually held their hands up and said, yeah, it's okay, we'll fix your door handles, which so far seems to be what they've done. Speaking of door handles, that rear right passenger one seems to be working now. I haven't had any trouble with it, so touch wood, I'll get another 6 months out of that before it needs sorting, and that's all my time used up.
Dad, I'm really excited to go to the skate park.
I know you were, Jasper. I'm really sorry, monkey. We'll have another go tomorrow. Just need to do what the teachers say when they say, okay? So if they say sit down, stop running, Jasper, sit down, you need to go and sit down straight away. And then they'll tell me that you've been a good boy and we can go to the skate park. So you try doing that tomorrow, okay?
We're looking forward to the skate park.
I know, so tomorrow, do what the teachers tell you, and then I'll take you to the skate park, okay? Guess we'll head off home then. It's a shame. But what can I do? You know, I've got to stick to my principles on the subject. Yeah, that was a shame. Tell you what I did see earlier. I saw the sort of spy shots of the new Tesla truck. It's quite cool actually. I'm not sure why it's so dramatically revolutionary, except for the fact that it hopefully will help to persuade the naysayers that EVs are for real. I think, to be honest, I think actually probably the business case for electric trucks is quite strong from Tesla's point of view, because if they can persuade businesses that these things are actually going to be a really sensible financial investment, businesses don't care about anything except dollars and cents. Is it going to save them money or not? And I think the potential is there to save a huge amount of money. Anyway, what we're going to do with Jasper is the teacher's going to make up a kind of sticker chart for him, and every time he's good, he'll get a good sticker. And then, hopefully, he'll have a sort of a visual representation of whether he's likely to get to go to the skate park or not. To be honest, I think he'll be better tomorrow. I think he was just a bit tired today, which didn't help. And, you know, basically, the problem is, teacher says sit down, all the other children are sitting down, we're doing something. Jasper just runs around like a freak. That's basically the problem. So he needs to listen and do as he's told, kind of straight away, rather than having to be forced into it every time, which is something that his mother can appreciate. I never seem to have that much of an issue with that sort of thing with him. Usually he will do as he's told, for me. Oh, dear me. Well, I've just taken Jasper up to bed. He's been perfectly good this evening, eating his food fine. We even did some reading before bed. I always like to try and do at least some reading practice every day, trying to teach him the word lion. Still have to learn exactly how this pop phonics thing works, because at the moment it's a little bit of a mystery to me. Actually, I've got a thing the school has put on in a couple of days' time where they're going to basically try and teach me how to teach him to read. So that'll be interesting. In terms of the behaviour, I'm hoping that the carrot of being able to come to the skate park after school is going to be enough that he will really just try and do as the teacher says. You see, to be honest, I kind of blame myself to some extent, because as we brought Jasper up, we did try very hard not to just be no parents, you know, constant no, 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 no. So we'd say no, of course, when we had to, and we'd say no some of the time anyway, when he was doing something we just felt was not good behaviour. But we would not say it all the time. I mean, most of the time, for example, if we're at home, does it matter if he runs around? No. If he hurts himself, he'll have himself to blame, and that'll be that. And so he's kind of learned not to hurt himself, and still runs around for the most part. But at school, they say, oi, don't run. And he doesn't quite understand yet that when the teacher says jump, ultimately is not going to be the way to do things as he gets older, but for school, it's the way to get through it without being labelled as the naughty child. At least, that's how it seems to me as an outsider. Obviously, I'm not at the school in the classes, so my perspective is somewhat limited. Right, anyway, come have a look at this. Got lights for my board. No idea if they're going to be a good idea or not. You know what? I might just nip out and give them a try. It's entirely possible that what I'm going to really need is actually a helmet mounted light, something that looks down, because the problem with lights on a skateboard is they're so close to the ground you don't really get a good view of the surface that's coming up. I actually think that was better than I expected. I mean, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable going down a completely dark alley. That would probably be terrifying. But other than that, quite impressed with those lights. Still not sure if I need to get like a helmet mounted one or not. Probably should, but honestly, how often am I going to be riding that board through the countryside in the dead of night? I'm going to say goodbye here. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog post. If you have, remember to like it, share it and subscribe if you haven't already. And follow me on Instagram if you don't already. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next instalment of my daily vlog. Bye! Nice to be using a proper camera again. For just normal vlogging, definitely just using normal camera. Also, I don't 100% know whether you're actually going to have seen the video from yesterday or not, because I'm having some technical challenges with actually editing it in a reasonable amount of time.